Yeah, I don't know where. But how do you chew the net?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Let's see. Oh, right, okay. Well, back. How was afternoon tea?
Well,
Delicious.
So, run a coffee?
Mm-hmm. Cup of sugar. Yeah, sugar hit for the afternoon crash, you know.
All that good stuff. Alright, so now is the last session of this training, and it is called Monitoring Team Progress. To support the diverse learning of this group, I'll have handouts while you read, and while I read, you'll listen to me. We'll take it step by step, and please feel free to ask any questions along the way. Just want to touch base on the previous sessions that we've had today. Introduction to continuous improvement and teamwork for continuous improvement. What did we learn in the introduction?
Learned about what continuous improvement is and also some of the benefits and barriers and the steps, identifying
Process.
the process to follow.
Can you give me some examples of the benefits?
Cost effective, staff morale, efficiency, reputation, organisation reputation.
And you have it competitors.
Staying relevant.
Oh, yeah.
And any barriers? Do you remember some examples of barriers?
Team culture. Yeah. And sometimes that would be barrier.
Like leadership.
Always the cost of resourcing. Right.
And the important part, the continuous improvement process. What are the 4 steps? Identify,
Plan, implement, review.
review. That's exactly right. In a circle. All the way around. What are some of the teamwork roles for continuous improvement?
Coordinator. Team leader.
What's the team leader doing?
Provide the direction for the group.
Coordinator. Analyst.
Subject matter expert.
Creative thinker. No.
Researcher and quality controller.
Being on the head. What is a critical part to building a positive team environment?
Encouragement is fun. Sorry, I didn't get it.
Yeah, big boy.
That was all right.
What was that question?
I just want to ask a question. I see if you guys can have a bit of a think about it and see what you come up with. Can you think of 2 businesses or organisations from the same industry that clearly has and hasn't implemented continuous improvement practices to improve their products and services?
So 2 different ones in the same kind of business, one that has implemented and one that hasn't.
Same sort of industry.
You're adapted. Yeah, so I'm thinking about like JB Hi-Fi and Sanity. Remember how Sanity, they were like, so they were both like, had CDs and music and a music business. And then, times changed, technology changed, and Sanity tried a few things, but just, I guess, their improvements weren't hitting the mark of the market. JB really diversified and just changed and I guess probably got bought out by other businesses, I don't know. But yeah, like they started it in a similar industry and I guess through their directions of continuous improvement, one is still like a really strong brand and, has a lot of revenue and Sanity doesn't exist anymore.
It's like JB Hi-Fi identified the problem coming up, planned for it, implemented it, reviewed.
Oh, use that
And it's still a really good company and Sanity no more. So today's length of the session, again, this part is another 30-minute session. The agenda is the same as before, PowerPoint presentation on how to monitor team progress, ways to improve planning and operations. We'll continue with Jamie's case study, have a class discussion, we'll summarise, and then the conclusion. Today there's no test, so we'll just have a bit of a group session, group discussion, make sure we're all clear on what we've learned, and that will be the assessment. The outcome of this session will be, by the end of the 30-minute session, learners will have been introduced to monitoring team progress with knowledge of systems and technologies of an organisation. Just as before, we'll go to safety. You hear the siren, we evacuate to this point here. The toilets are here. Fire extinguisher is over near the exit, as long as in the first aid kit. Alright, so as before, be respectful to one another, and any bullying or aggressive behaviour will not be accepted. I doubt that's going to happen, we're all friends here. Alright, let's begin the presentation. As we have discussed in previous sessions, workplaces have goals and objectives that they need to work towards to be able to deliver their products and services. An organisation needs to be able to generate income to cover the costs of producing their products and or delivering their services. Workplaces need to monitor their teams and employees' progress of achieving the goals and objectives of the organisation. How to monitor team progress. Monitoring team progress means that tracking things such as the number of products made or the quality of the services to identify the goals and outcomes are being met, and that determine if there are any improvements methods required. Organisations can use a variety of methods to monitor how our team is progressing. The monitoring should be using systems and technology of the organisation. This can include regular performance reviews. A regular performance review is a structured, scheduled conversation between a manager and employee to evaluate work performance, discuss goals, and provide feedback, occurring at set intervals, quarterly, monthly, weekly. These formal, documented meetings aim to improve communication, foster professional development, recognise achievements, and align individual goals with the company objectives. Key performance indicators or KPIs. Do you guys have any of them at Hera?
Yeah, I've got to get out 10 cups a day.
KPIs are quantifiable crucial measure used to evaluate the success of the organisation team. Or individually achieving specific objectives. They provide essential actionable data to track progress, inform decision making, and ensure strategic alignment. QA, quality assurance checks. Quality assurance checks are proactive, systematic processes designed to prevent defects and ensure standards are met throughout product or service development, rather than just detecting errors at the end. Project management tools. Project management tools are software applications, techniques, and physical resources designed to help individuals or teams plan, execute, and track projects effectively. They facilitate task delegation, timeline management, collaboration, and resource allocation to ensure projects are completed on time within the budget. Team meetings and updates. Meetings that are regular, structured gatherings for team members to align on goals, share progress updates, solve problems, and foster collaboration. These meetings often are recurring, facilitate communication with leadership and staff to uncover blockers, assign tasks, and ensure everyone is informed, accountable, and on track. Peer and customer feedback. employee surveys. Peer and customer feedback alongside employee surveys are structured, data-driven methods used to measure performance, employee engagement, and customer satisfaction. They function as a 360-degree view of an organisation where peer review offers insight to team dynamics, customer feedback, evaluate service quality, and employee surveys measure sentiment, engagement, and operational effectiveness. Oh, well, we got through that. So, does any of these methods sound familiar at Gear Up?
Yeah, we've got regular team meetings, so that's a point where we're always receiving updates. For some of our project management tools, there's different ones in different teams though. Yep.
Or like Kimiko said before, with the KPIs, is that something that's being given during meetings?
Yeah, we give updates on some of those things, particularly those that then have impacts on the rest of the team and that are going to help the rest of the team members also progress the work that they're focused on. Yeah. We've also got annual performance reviews, so that's one time in the year where we come together and sort of set our goals with our lead, like our team leader or our manager, and then, at a quarterly point in the year, we sort of have an opportunity to look at those goals and sort of see if we're on track and what else, whether we need like extra training or what the organisation can provide to help us.
Has anyone else got any example to add to what Kimiko said, that they've found that any of these methods can improve their work?
In manufacturing, that's where I am, and we have occasional quality assurance checks. That's getting checked to make sure the manufacturing everything's up to scratch.
Yeah.
I bet you get some customer feedback.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, definitely in customer relations, we get a lot of customer feedback that comes through.
I don't think that's really important, isn't it? Like, I think that's an external way.
To know where you need to improve.
Yeah. It's not from within the organisation, it's from the outside looking in. And that's where we're getting
Everybody getting this.
really, that's right, yeah, really, really honest feedback.
So, how an organisation monitors a team's progress on a specific project or overall operations will depend on the nature of the work the organisation undertakes. To track progress, you generally need a starting point or a benchmark and then compare the measurements taken at various points to the starting point or benchmark. Comparing the measurements will be used to show the difference between the two and hence the progress. Most organisations would use a form of technology to help monitor operational progress. Technologies can include project management software, employee management software, electronic surveys. When monitoring team progress for continuous improvement, it is important to not only collect data, but also feedback from team members as how the project is progressing and how the team is working. Ways to improve planning and operations. When organisations track the progress in their operations, they can gain insight into what things are working effectively and what things are not working effectively. They use the information of what is not working effectively to identify improvements opportunities. Planning and operations can be improved with the information gained when monitoring progress by establishing goals and objectives, increasing communication and collaboration with the organisation, allocating resources appropriately, identifying areas of development that requires training, streamlining of work processes and flows. You can definitely sort of see some of the teamwork roles that are suited for each of these with the monitoring the progress. Do you guys have any possible examples or experiences of practice with this list? Kimiko, allocating the resources properly for your just distribution.
Yeah, well, I guess the other day we came up with a problem that we had more trucks that needed, like we needed more routes to go out to get our product out there, but actually we had more product, but we didn't have enough staff. So we had to really look at where we were investing in our resources, in that we really had to sort of flex up in the staff and the FTE that we had available. So for a short-term period, we ended up giving some of our casual staff some additional hours, and we were able to get those trucks out en route. It's great. Yeah. No, I did my KPI. I did. I have to allocate those resources appropriately.
And that was streamlining too, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Streamlining things to get that to happen.
Makes me think of like in our earlier session when we were talking about meetings and forming those teams, like establishing goals and objectives in those groups as well. You know, you wouldn't be able to monitor the team progress, you know, in those earlier scenarios we were working on if you weren't clear on that at the beginning.
So those goals need to be pretty smart though, don't you think?
The improvement of planning operations for an organisation will depend on what is monitored and the data that is collected. It is important to discuss the results of monitoring with everyone involved, as data can sometimes require an explanation of unusual results. For an example, an organisation might monitor the cost of the staff on the budgets to ensure that the staffing is adequate. Not too many or too few. A manager might notice that for a particular month there is an increase in staff wages. The manager should ask for an explanation as to why the cost is so high when there was no change in the amount of staff working that month. Finance staff to provide information that the staff received the relevant employment award wage increase. Getting the information about the wage increase will lead the manager to make a decision about staffing with all relevant data and information. How do the actions in this example reflect monitoring progress on operations?
There's a few different perspectives that, you know, have information that others are probably not aware of or across, and so everyone has a different responsibility in either proactively doing it or supporting someone else's area for it to actually all function. Even, you know, that as a team, but even when they're monitoring a team's progress, the monitoring itself is still teamwork.
Getting that information. If you can take action.
Yeah, using good communication to then streamline some of those work processes and flows.
Which leads us to the next question. Which actions and considerations are relevant? Example list.
Yeah. Yeah, and allocating the resources appropriately within budget.
And then with being able to do that, how important is team roles and working together?
Well, it's good for everyone to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's not just a few people who actually know why things are streamlined or why resources are reallocated or something. Everyone needs to know that so that they don't get grumpy.
Who would be in charge of delegating all that? So that manager, who would they want do ask to find out all that information from who you can gather that.
Coordinator?
Looks like you've got a team leader as well.
Yeah.
And then there's subject matter expert is your finance person who has that understanding of the awards and agreements and, how that will have those flow-on effects to have to support manager.
Yeah. All right. Case study. Back to Jamie's communication system. This probably more realistic. All right, just have a bit of a read through that first, and then we'll go through it together. All right, team, let's do it. Jamie and Sarah are pleased with the first meeting they've had with the team. There was a lot of discussion and ideas generated in the meeting. During the meeting, the team discussed how they would track the progress of improvement. It was decided that as the coordinator/administrator, Jamie would create a spreadsheet with the different tasks that would be undertaken. They would review the spreadsheet at weekly meetings and collect feedback from all the team members. Jamie would also spend the week gathering data about the current communication system to be used as a starting benchmark for the team to use to identify areas of improvement. So, just break up into pairs again, and then focus on answering the questions. What were the methods that Jamie and Sarah are using in this case study? And what step of continuous improvement is Jamie and Sarah monitoring in this case study? And explain.
Method and continuous improvement.
What step?
Oh, what step of the course, yes. Would you come back to the method slide, please, actually? So Jamie's using a spreadsheet to track the tasks. The spreadsheet would
So
be
it's that using one
very
data.
data.
Yeah.
And then
They landed on together.
having that weekly meeting to progress. So you can, having a meeting.
I'm surprised that people's getting one that I heard from the meeting, you make it so busy, but all when I got making trainings to
I feel like the manager come down hard.
And collecting feedback from, so at least this was about
Yeah.
keeping the buy-in from everybody, everybody's involved and so hopefully they'll continue to feel relevant and heard when around.
Right.
Yeah, I guess like ongoing communication as well.
Yes,
More
yeah.
feel a part of it.
yeah.
What step do you think we choose?
It's still implementation, I think, because this is still what they're planning to do. They haven't had 2 months worth of weekly meetings. yet.
Yeah, that's right. I'll change it in the week here and see if she's still implementing and gathering that data to review later.
And it's also new. It's just because they're basically doing nothing.
Okay, could you please tell us what you got? Even then.
Yeah, so Ben and I were talking about some of the methods that Jamie's been using. And we could see that Jamie's created a spreadsheet to track the tasks. And I guess that would give an understanding of what's in progress or hasn't been started, how far it's been. So that's a really great way of monitoring progress. They've got a weekly meeting set up, which then helps the team feel updated and have the communication around the progress, and I guess helps everyone monitor that project. But Ben made a really great point that also having that collection of feedback is a really good way to monitor the progress, but also to keep the team engaged in the project and help them feel a part of the solution ongoing.
Fantastic. How about you, Lena? And Alba?
Yeah, so I think, very similar, and just with the tracking the progress, just where they identified the starting benchmark, so they're really clear and aligned on where they're moving from. And that's all of those things, the tool that they landed on, the discussion ideas generated in the first place, the collaboration is really clear, so it's not just tracking the progress on the whole, but also the individual output and their meeting on that together. So it's just really transparent.
Yeah, fantastic. Good stuff, guys. All right, so let's just go on a bit of a summary before we do a group question. Why do we monitor the team progress?
Or to make sure it's still working and relevant.
What are some of the methods and systems to monitor team progress?
That's why KPIs, quality assurance check,
That's reviews.
Performance reviews, all that good stuff. There was a few in there that we just talked about giving this stuff. All right. So the last thing we're going to do today is a group. As a group, we're going to come up with an idea for a continuous improvement for Gear Up. For that idea, list possible team roles, benefits and barriers, possible process of monitoring, and what are the goals of this improvement. Now, I reckon we should go with the idea at the start of the first session that Kimiko had with the solar panels. So, what are some of the possible team roles?
Someone's got to research solar panels.
Oh yeah, we need a researcher for sure.
Researcher.
And having a subject matter expert, probably around sustainable methods and practices. Finance.
Yeah.
Monitor resources.
Yeah. All right. And then, what are the benefits of this idea?
Just to focus on sustainability, not just in the end product, but in the process of getting it.
So ensure we continue to have premium quality.
And eventually it will be cheaper. Save money.
In the long
Yeah, in the long run, financial will be better. So, what are some of the barriers?
We need leadership to buy in on this. It's going to be really expensive to that initial investment.
Yeah.
More money. You guys might not have the place to put it. Need
Yeah. Got to
possibly
go council,
infrastructure.
cut the trees down around the building.
Yeah. And then once this is implemented, what is some of the possible processes of the monitoring? What could be one way of doing it?
we'd want to see that we're starting to have the return
Yeah.
for the solar panel. So,
Return
yeah.
of cost.
So probably finance, they continue to support us in that way with monitoring those numbers.
Ensuring they've got that benchmark of what we're currently spending on our energy.
Might be something that if we want our customers to notice, then we should involve marketing so that we can say how we've improved that, because we want to do it internally, but we also want to make sure it's clear about our focus on sustainability to our customers.
Yeah, seeking what feedback comes back.
And getting increased customer support.
All right, guys. Well, we are now getting to the end of the training. It feels like you guys have come a long way and you've achieved the outcome of being introduced to the monitoring team progress with the knowledge of systems of technology of an organisation. Like the other two sessions, I will pass out the feedback forms.
Mum,
1 more minute. 1 minute.
can Kelsey let me speak for you?
Yeah, babe. 1 minute.
Okay.
So close. So I'll pass out the feedback form and give them back to people when we can. Thank you very much for being here today. I think you've learned a lot. I think you've achieved all the outcomes of every session. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.